Remember, there's some pretty important information here in the disclaimer. You might want to give the video a quick pause and read it.
Oh, hey everybody, it's me, Sonic! Sonic the Hedgehog! Just here to remind you that if you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button. And for even more amazing customs, don't forget to subscribe to Wake Angel 2001! Because between you and me, they're way past cool!
Hello my friends, this is Wake Angel 2001 coming at you with a custom. No, this isn't a commission, it's a personal project. It's been a while since I made one of these. Let me indulge between commissions. And it is Longclaw, the, Sonic's mother figure from the movie franchise. Now, here's an interesting fact. Officially speaking, in the video games, Sonic the Hedgehog doesn't have a backstory. Who are his parents? Where is he from? Is there a hedgehog nation or something? We don't know any of those things. Like, everyone's always making jokes about how Knuckles is the last of his kind, and that's like a huge deal. But, Amy Rose confirms that other hedgehogs exist in the video game canon, but really, for all we know, Sonic just kind of popped out of the ether. We really almost know nothing about him. Meaning, whenever we have spin-off material that's allowed to deviate from whatever canon Sega has going on in the video games, we get a whole bunch of speculation, like his uncle Chuck from the original Saturday morning cartoon, or his parents, Bernadette and Jules from the Archie comic, or in the Underground universe, Queen Alina, his other mother, or what other familial relationships does Sonic have? Did he have anything in the Fleetway comic? I don't know anything about that. Oh yeah, the fact that he was actually a brown hedgehog with a whole bunch of spikes coming out of his back instead of his traditional quill pattern. And then when he just ran really fast on a treadmill, he broke the cobalt limit and became blue. Yeah, like, all this stuff is just things that they made up because the video game doesn't say anything about it. And I'm not sure if they ever will say anything about it. That's kind of part of his appeal. Like, it's kind of like Mickey Mouse, Like, I don't think we ever really met Mickey's parents in any serious canon situation, so that's kind of the thing. Well, anyway, the movie decided to have him raised by one of the Guardians of Ga'Hoole, which, yeah, like, I really feel like Longclaw might have been a leftover effect from, how Sonic originally looked, Ugly Sonic. Because she doesn't look like a Sega character. We've seen anthropomorphic owls in the Sonic design before in several continuities, and Longclaw doesn't quite look like them. Like, aside from the fact that she, can use her wings like arms, the way that the Rito in Legend of Zelda can, there really isn't anything that reads humanoid about her, aside from the fact that, birds and owls in particular already kind of look humanoid because of their posture. But I digress. Speaking of owls that are unusually humanoid looking, the base figure for this is Decidui, with her head 3D printed from the model coming from, I'm not sure if it's Sonic Dash or Speed Battle. I think I'll have to ask Corey about that, because would the Speed Battle model be more high resolution? I'm not really sure about that. And no, this is not my Decidui figure, the one that I modified with the Mega Construx joints to have more flexible wings. That is my Tiba figure. He is part of my toy collection, and I'm not going to desecrate him. This was another Decidui that I bought off of eBay at a surprisingly close to the original retail price, which, I don't know, I was kind of afraid that that figure would have appreciated in value so much I wouldn't be able to afford a new one, but here we go. Fortunately, this figure does mostly break down. I didn't even really have to boil it. All the pieces popped off relatively easily, except, of course, for the shoulders, which go into a torso that's solid plastic you can't really remove. And then came my modifications. To make the wings, I I patterned them based off of the wings that I made for my Harpy Lady figure from all those years ago. Originally, I cut these stencils out of the the biggest piece of foam I had left because I didn't want to waste the brown foam because like the brown foam is useful for making things like earth tone wings. So I also had to sand away the feather 6-pack that Decidueye has and sculpt it over nice and smooth. And then, I attached the wings. They are made in such a way that when her elbows are bent, they'll look like one solid continuous piece. But when you have her arms straight, too, they will also look like a solid continuous piece. Yeah, it works as long... the only thing wrong with it is that when you use the bicep swivels, then it breaks the illusion. But, like making action figure wings is just something that's super hard to do because, like bird wings are just really such complicated structures. I don't really think that, you could probably make an action figure whose wings would fold up all the intricate ways that bird wings do, but I can guarantee it would be pretty expensive. Once the foam is attached, I sculpted on some epoxy sculpt to be like the thicker feathers on the wing, the limb of the wing itself, and then painted everything in. And that very, like, Longclaw is just like, she's just a regular owl. Like, she's very big, like a human-sized owl, but she's still just an owl. And I think there's a relatively large owl species, the great horned owl, that I believe might be the inspiration for the Mothman myth. Because, like, in the dark of night, when all you can see are the reflective eyes, like, if they open up their wings and start running at you, the silhouette it creates kind of looks like what people say Mothman looks like. So, yeah, that this, like, owls, legit actual cryptids. I think there was an alternate story. There was an alternate beginning to the first Sonic movie where Longclaw was actually supposed to go with Sonic into Earth, and they would live together there for a few years before she would get sick and die, and then Sonic lived on his own. I was wondering, like, if they did that, could Crazy Carl have been a Mothman conspirator who originally saw Longclaw there and mistook her for a cryptid before starting to chase after the Blue Devil? I don't know. I'm speculating too much. Her head is just a paint job, although I did make those two little long feathers that stick up out of her ears out of foam because I was afraid if I would 3D print them, they would be too thin and they would snap. Oh, and speaking of owl heads, here's what Decidueye's head looks like once you remove his feather hood. I thought that this was going to be really cursed, but when I look at it, that doesn't look particularly cursed. I mean, that's just what an owl's head looks like. I mean, he just has one big feather coming out the top of his head instead of the two little horns like Longclaw has, but yeah, that's a very ordinary looking owl head. So, I don't know, like, maybe I'll post this head on my Reddit thread so that if anybody wants to use the picture to make, like, memes or something, like Decidueye without his hood looks like, and then, I don't know, substitute that in for whatever. I kind of like the half-lidded eyes because it looks so deadpan like this. Anyway, the reason I dismantled the head was to get this piece out. This is the little bit of palm plastic that allows Decidueye's head to turn, so I basically sanded this down to just the round part in the middle and then stuck it inside of the 3D printed head so that I would be able to use the joint so that Longclaw would be able to turn her neck as naturally as Decidueye does. And the legs, I decided not to modify the feet, like, because Longclaw is one of those owls that has 3 toes, while Decidueye has 4 toes. I decided not to tempt fate because I didn't want to make the figure unable to stand because I cut out valuable heel support. So all I did was sculpt on her little bracelets, or anklets, however you want to call them. And I was also going to trim down Decidueye's feather fingers to be pointier, to look more like Longclaw's. But I was afraid that if I did that, they would just look like claws, because, trying to make something look like a feather, it's actually not that easy. And And this is, oh, should I tag this as not safe for work? Because this is Longclaw naked. Yes, we all know the mandate that female characters in Sega properties have to have full outfits on. So Longclaw kind of bucks that trend if you think about it. But yeah, technically speaking, I'd had this much completed on January 31st. So if Longclaw didn't have her armor, then I technically would have had this as a January commission, a January figure. This wasn't a commission, I made this myself. Unfortunately, she does wear something, so I had to make it. It is a multi-layered affair, so the first 2 layers are made out of craft foam, and then the layers on top of that are made from poster board. And you know, everything is painted various shades of gold. I actually used I used 3 different. I made the gold look 3 different colors by using different yellows. Like the lowest layer has the baseline color of the foam. Then the second layer I painted a light yellow, like the bright butter yellow, and then painted the gold on top of that. And then for the third one, I painted the darker orchid yellow and put the gold on top of that. So that makes the illusion of the three shades of gold, which kind of adds to that little owl motif on her breastplate. Like her breastplate kind of looks like an owl. And yeah, you've been looking at the completed Longclaw figure this whole time. So yeah, that's her. She still has all of Decidueye's original articulation, although I think these wings do look a little cooler than the fabric wings that just kind of roll up on themselves. You know, for the most part, like I said, the bicep swivel can still look a little bit weird. And she can do owly things, like turn her head around 180 degrees. This is just my excuse to show off the armor detailings on the back. And I think that this would more or less scale to how she would be in the movie had she been seen next to, you know, grown-up Sonic. And I hope you guys took note of the fact that I stuck little baby Sonic next to her in one of the previous pictures. Who's gonna pause and go back just to make sure, because holy crap, I missed that. Let me know in the comments if you missed baby Sonic the first time. That would be kind of an amusing thing to know. Alright, so thank you all for watching this video. We will get back to making commissions for other people next time. So this is Wake Angel 2001 signing off.